So welcome to Buddy's Designs. This is part 3 of the Colin Thompson colouring in book. Fantastique. So I scribbled with my Neos some colour, just little marks of colour where I thought I would want certain colours. So we've got a red car and a blue van, and he's got blue jeans on and things like that. So it's a good way of doing it because it means you can just take your book and a water brush with you. And I do have a little tiny one which is from this particular set. But the Winsor & Newton little watercolour travel sets normally have this little brush with them. And it's quite handy for tiny spaces, and there are quite a few tiny spaces in here. But the idea is that you could leave your Neocolour tools at home, scratch all the colours on all the pages or one page, and then put a piece of paper between so you don't contaminate each page. And you've also got that then to lean on because, again, you're going to be smudging pure colour. So if you were at the beach, you didn't really want to take your Neos there, that would be fine. Now I do tend to try and move from right to left, but if you were right-handed, you'd want to go right to left. Sorry, left to right. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to start at this top right-hand corner. So this is a live stream recorded for Ustream.tv. It's also recorded for Ustream to people to watch at their leisure. And so thank you for joining in, and if you have any questions, pop them in caps. It's also recorded for Ustream for people to watch later. So I'll zoom in, and then lots of little pieces of paper everywhere, and just get hold of my little Logitech. And I'll zoom in. And so I'm going to be moving, the actual book rather than the camera. So all around the edge I went around with a red, I think it was a brick red. Now that you can tell is far too wet. So I usually use a baby wipe. It's a damp, it's quite strong for obvious reasons, and it just seems to take the water, enough water, so squeeze and then twist to a point, and that's going to give you just enough water. You don't want too much water. And what I might just see if I can do is these little bricks. So I'm just touching this, and it's completely melting. And the Neos do this, they're really nice. Now this particular way of working will do any good quality pigment. So it'll work with Inktense pencils, Derwent watercolour pencils, Neocolour 2 crayons. It probably will work with the Faber-Castell water crayons as well, they're quite strong. I've only got about 10 of those, but they work quite strong. And as you can see, this is melting really quickly, and this is quite fast. This is what I call my fast and furious. Yeah, sometimes you can get it a bit cheaper on Amazon. Suzanne says they're about $12, those little sets. I'll just show you another one in a minute that are a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure if they sell the brush separate for that little brush. It just happens to be such a lovely little size. And I use one. I don't know why I'm going all the way down here. So, and of course now once this is set, you don't have to worry about it smudging. So I'm going to go back to the top. And there will be a little bit of colour. There's a dot of red there. So I'm going to start with the pale colours first. So we'll do his bald head and his hand. and then we can kind of manipulate that. Now there's a bit of grey on there, but instead of losing it, I'm actually going to manipulate this round and then down his arm. Now I said earlier you might have a bit of blue here, so you could think, is there anything that's got blue? So I might do this little cocoon here, and you see how much colour would have been wasted if I'd have just wiped it away. So I've managed to get that, and now when I do this, there's hardly anything. And I haven't done this little chick yet either, so again we'll just manoeuvre that around the fish head, and then we've got a kind of a, oh, it's a dead fish. I thought it was a cat. It's a dead fish. They're all dead fishes. That's delightful. Yeah, they're all dead fish. I've just realised that. It's an upside down dead fish. So I've got a bit of red on here, so instead of getting rid of it, I'm just going to manipulate that. So I've turned it into a watercolour, and then I'm going to move it about a bit. So we might get a watercolour effect. Now sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, but this is my Fast and Furious. So there's no crayons here, there's no watercolours, there's just a wet brush. And we did say he was going to have some dark pants. Now I've got a blue one here. Now this is called indigo, but when you make it very pale, it goes into a kind of a mauve, very pale purple, and it's good for smoke colours. So manipulate this colour round, and I've got brown on there, so you can always just give something a little bit of colour. Same with this one. And everything seems to be just coloured enough to get rid of that stark white, which we never like. So again, touch a little bit of colour, but not much is wasted. So middle of the fan, because I do like the inside. And remember that this is grayscale, this particular book, so you don't need to do very much. It's all done for you. And then if you have any kind of mechanical colour, you can kind of manoeuvre that about a bit. So I'm actually going to go all the way down this one, because I can't, I like that brown colour. And there was a little bit down there. And again, wasted a little spot. So I'm going to go back up to that corner, and you've got to be a bit careful, but it's almost dried. So this, I want this to be kind of pale really, but I'm going to be careful we don't get too much water. It's a big space, and big spaces and water don't mix when it comes to colour pages, so I'm going to be a little bit careful, but hopefully we're going to get darker in some places and lighter in others, and that's what we want, because otherwise it will be just flat. And then I did put a dark colour on this kind of shelf there. I'll just manipulate that a bit. And this is why it's called Fast and Furious, because you're just activating it and pushing it about until you get it where you want it. Now I've got a tiny bit of brown on there, so I'm going down to this screw head here and I'm just going to colour that one in. So the next bit down here is this little jar, so again activate that orangey colour, and then we had a paler orange for that, and then these were going to be this colour. Didn't colour him in at all, but I've got plans for him in a minute. And then we have each individual one down here. I have a funny feeling I put grey on there, don't know why, but just to get rid of that off-white stark colour. And I've got the upside down cork, and then we've got this background colour again. And it's a nice quiet peaceful way to work, but it is quite fast because you've got the colour there. The only thing you've got to do is make sure you've got enough colour, or the colour in the right place, because you're not going to want to be moving it about too much. But the Caran d'Ache colour 2s are kind of quite well behaved. And you can quite nicely manoeuvre them about a bit. And of course the cross hatching and hatching and the grayscale is already done for you. And we'll just finish this little bit off here, and then we can do the plain, which of course is going to be extremely vibrant because it's red. And most reds in pure colour are very, very bright. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Hope everybody's okay. Thank you for joining me. Hope I haven't missed anybody popping in on this Thursday. So I normally like to stream on Thursdays, and with any luck, if we're on our own, we can stream for most of the day. It's just been difficult the last few weeks because when the girls are home, they think that mum should be with them and doing their thing. So kind of like a bit of darkness, and then we can manoeuvre that across to get a highlight, and then stopping just before we get to activate that other red, and then we've got that lovely highlight and shadow down there. And we can do the same with this, get that lovely deep rich dark colour. And this brush behaves itself very well. And then when you want just a drop more water, you can manipulate that. And we've got a funny little shadow there, but I'll go sort that out in a bit. Now I didn't know if this was a washing machine or a cooker, but I just did it a pale yellow. We've got this yellow under here. Just to get rid of that stark white, mainly. The only one I want the stark white is on lettering. No, I did do this grill kind of thing here, so there is some colour on this. Oh, I think Alfie's snoring. So the kittens we were playing with were snoring as well, having cat dreams. I'd never seen a cat, before have a dream, so it's quite strange to see. And I'm just going to take that there, so just, we could do with some wood there really. So this is the brown stem. And again you get that natural highlight. And then this brush, we didn't have anything. We can manoeuvre that round and have a highlight. Manoeuvre that round and have a highlight. Now eventually your brush will have green on it, so you're not going to get the highlight, but and then if you've forgotten one, like I forgot this one, there's a bit of green to manoeuvre. And that's why it's fast and furious, because it really doesn't take a lot of time now. So we have a pram, so we'll just manipulate that colour over the pram. And then we have a little rat, or big rat. And then manoeuvre that around. We should get a little bit of a highlight on that side. And this is kind of like a walkway, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it, so just put a little bit of colour in it. So I need some of this yellow. It can be quite pale, this. I think we don't really want it all the same because it can look a bit kind of ugh. There's enough green to do that one. And just going up here a bit to do these greens, but I want to try and keep that lightning bolt white. And if you were desperate to put a little bit of colour on later, I'm sure you could. So make sure the brush is clean because we've gone from green to yellow. And this is a warm golden yellow, so it's vibrant in itself, but just activate this one. It really doesn't take long at all. And that's why I call it fast and furious, because it's only your manipulation that's causing this colour to kind of melt into a watercolour. Sometimes if you have a branch, it's sometimes a bit easier to kind of just do it all at once. So I've got some books. I'll just do the books. And then I need to keep that lightning strike. And if you go over there just carefully, you've just created a bookmark that matches that particular book. And the grayscale helps. Not sure what's behind there, but needs a bit of colour. Oh, bye Judy, thanks for stopping by. Sorry, it's been a bit disjointed this today. It's technical difficulties again. I keep thinking I'm getting quite good at these things, and then they elude me again, but never mind. Right, again I've got a little bit of colour on there. Just keep going, and then I'm going to have a paler bottle. It's always good because there's a grayscale in there already. But it's always that bit nicer. So clean the brush because you're going back to this palish yellow colour. And because you're in between things, you can pick up the colour. And then the things you want to leave white, actually, they're okay. They do work because you've got a little bit of colour behind them. So I wanted to leave the candles white. And I can do that now. No, sorry, Susie. These are Neocolor 2s. I scratched a bit of colour, Neocolor 2s. But I wanted to do the mushrooms and the in digital today. That's what I wanted to do. So this is indigo, but as you can see, it's so strong. You can touch it in another room and carry on. So do paler colours and then kind of do a bit of a wash job over everything, just to knock that stark white off. That's what it's for. It's just a bit too kind of so I now need that little brush so I can get some water from it, or I can nip it with a baby wipe, and then I can get some of that colour and colour those in, these little spaces, if you didn't want to do them all the same. And it just knocks that stark white thing off. I shouldn't really have wet that again, but never mind. And then that staircase. Then we've got these kind of little red bricks again. So I'll do the background. Oops, the background of the pram. So it's made that, oops, that lettering stand out, and I haven't done anything to it, so it works. So we've got this section down here next. Oops. So I did put a bit of grey down there, didn't I? Yep, and I put some brown on that one. And then I thought that would manipulate round. I've got a brown cork. Oopsie, I touched a bit of that green. And that's one thing you've got to remember. These colours are very vibrant, so you've got to be a bit careful. So although it's Fast and Furious, it's not really slapdash. They've got to have a little bit of some precision. Oopsie, wrong way, Alfie. Curly gumdrops. Right, and now we're going to do the bagpipes. So if I do the right, to do that like that. I didn't move the camera back a bit, so I'll put that there. So put that there, and then he's got his pink arms. Yes, please, darling. Thank you. Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you. Right. So he's got his blue coat on, and it's getting a bit. That was a bit wet. That, and his face. See if we can find all the little faces. And come back and get his face, because I forgot to do his face. And then he's got blue. Oops. He's got blue, dark blue pants. He's got dark blue pants. He's got pale blue. So they're all coloured in next. symbol. I think that's a giant tambourine, that actually. He's got a bit of a red top on. And then he's got now I did have a bit of that yellow for this over here. Then I didn't have to bother with anything. I've got that little clock in the middle. So again, that's and I did put a tiniest little bit of blue on there. Then we had a funny coloured monkey up there. And just get in between everything. And of course this red is just going to be absolutely so I can do these little squares next. And as soon as the colour's melted, you want to move across, because you don't want to spend too much time, because you're wetting, every time you move them you're wetting them, so you really don't want to spend too much time. The same with these here. And the nice thing about this is, you can see something at the end of it. And then we've got the train, so he's going to be green, the train's green. Oh, just realised I've done that wrong. Never mind. There was some yellow there. I thought it was part of the train. Down that section, but never mind. Oh, Alfie's back. He just wanted to open the door and make a draft. That's all they wanted to do. No, I didn't fill any of these these people in on the train, these passengers. So that's something to just kind of go over a bit. And so we've got a little bit more to do. I did miss a few little pieces out. We've got, as we'll do this bit, the sticks of dynamite. So it's quite therapeutic, this. It's just pootling along and filling them in. Oops, got to be careful not to put your baby wipe near your pages because it will buckle them. So we've got that section next. Right. And you just keep, if you think it'll go next to it, pop it next to it. If you think it'll go further round. And if it gets too small, we've got that little brush to use. So put that orange inside that lamp. Those nasty creases. I hate those nasty creases. They're kind of a pest. So thanks guys for stopping by. This is a live show, but with almost a live almost like awake, I should say. So everything I've touched on Ustream I've seemed to have broken today, so let's hope it has a better day tomorrow. Oh, Kamagalina, why have you got issues? Is my thing frozen again now? It froze on me this morning, threw me out, so Ustream has been a bad puppy this morning, so hopefully it might be better. So, just back up to the toast. I keep calling it a toaster, it's not a toaster. It's a radio. So, more red bricks. Make sure we keep that star quite... Alfie! Good boy. I nearly had to shout at you then, Alf. So, we've got this bit here to do, and I'll just do that. I've done that. Again, sometimes you end up with some really nice soft greys, so you can just kind of go over things. Alfie. Alfie! Here. Thank you, good boy. Wandering around on your own. Good boy. Right. So, as I say, I may have another go now hubby's home, see if I can get... I might plug in the little laptop. Oh no, I can't do that because it doesn't work. I did try that one. It was a try and a fail, that, definitely. I think it's to do with the size. I definitely think it's to do with the size. Oops, back up to the top. A top radio we haven't done yet. And this is where you can manipulate things to just give you a little bit of colour and just take that stark white off. Sometimes you get a bit carried away and you make too much water and you get a little bit of a buckle if you're not careful. We've got a Mr. Snail up there as well. And so I think if I've activated that, I'm just going to do him, I think. Yeah. Oh, I forgot the windows in the train. In the train carriage. And I think we'll have some yellow warm lights in there, I think. Got the little red bricks right on the bottom. So it's taken about an hour and we're halfway there, so I shall zoom out and you can see how far we've got. So this side's all been activated and this side is ready to do, so there is some nice colours there and some nice watercolour effects. But considering it was so fiddly, oops, missed a bit here, look. So there's some nice colours on there. So this is going to get a little bit boring because you've seen how it's put on and how it's manipulated around. And that's all there is to it really. You just take this colour and swish it around where you want it. And it ends up looking, oopsie, the colours end up looking okay. And I didn't really use my little brush much this time, so thank you for watching.